I remember calling this MacBook the best choice in 2023, even with the M3 machines out there. But is it still the case? Some apps got updated for the M3, and the difference right now might be greater than what we initially thought. Should you still buy the M2 Pro 14-inch MacBook Pro a full year after its release? Let me break it down for you and help you make the right choice. I think we should do something different this time and start with probably the most interesting thing about this laptop: its price. Currently, you can buy a refurbished one straight from Apple for $1,600. And this is a fantastic deal, especially when you compare it to the base M3 14-inch that costs the same amount of money. That newer M3 MacBook basically has one advantage over this one: slightly higher display brightness. But as soon as you look past it and focus on performance, it becomes instantly clear that the M2 Pro is on a totally different level. Even if we compare the M2 Pro to the M3 Pro, the difference won't be that huge. We already made a detailed comparison of these two MacBooks. I'm just gonna say that spending $1,600 on the M2 Pro machine in many cases might give you better performance per book than a $2,000 M3 Pro. And again, aside from that display brightness, these laptops are practically identical. I kind of feel like I'm in a Groundhog Day. All these 14-inch and even 16-inch MacBook Pros all the way since 2021 are so similar to one another that you have to use a looking glass to spot a difference. Many people have complained that the jump in performance and features from the M1 Pro to the M2 Pro wasn't significant, but when you look a bit closer, you notice that aside from improved performance, the M2 Pro became more efficient and got Bluetooth 5.3 and Wi-Fi 6E, which drastically improved the quality in my AirPods. In your AirPods Pro, and the Wi-Fi connection became more stable and with faster speeds. And you know what? The M3 Pro has exactly the same connectivity modules, which makes the difference between this M2 Pro and the new M3 Pro seem almost negligible. And the same goes for the display and build quality. The only visual difference is the color. M2 Pro comes in silver and space gray, two signature colors for MacBooks. The M3 Pro comes in silver and black. If you are a practical person, you would choose silver every day of the week. You know what Apple needs to show us? A good tool to record the screen and create stuff like product demos. But fear not, Wondershare Demo Creator, the sponsor of this video, is here to help. Demo Creator is a great screen recording tool that fits all my needs. It's not only a recording app, it's also a video editor all in one app. This saves a ton of time. What I like is that if I want to record a guide on how to do something, or I want to give a presentation, the app records everything in separate tracks. I will have a separate screen recording track, separate webcam feed track, and a separate audio track. And the best part is that I can edit it all in the built-in editor. I can easily cut clips, arrange them how I like, add annotations, and so on. So if you are, let's say, a teacher, you can conveniently create detailed webinars for your students without spending too much time editing. Just draw as you record, highlight stuff, add arrows and shapes, then do a quick edit, and you are done. What could be especially useful is AI captions, which could help both you and your viewers. The AI follows the words exactly, and I don't have to sit there and edit anything. If I want to zoom in on a part of the screen, I can also do that in a few clicks. The interface is really intuitive, even your grandma would figure it out. And in case you're into games, there is a special game mode. Oh, and there's also this cool AI avatar feature that all shy people watching this will definitely like. The app captures not only your face, but also mimics and emotions, so you could become that VTuber if you really want to. And if your voice comes out noisy, there's always a denoiser feature that will fix it. Demo Creator can record at resolutions of up to 8K and 120 FPS, which is mighty impressive. I will leave a link in the description, so be sure to check it out. Even that display brightness that some people say is a big deal, in reality absolutely isn't. And you know why? Because the display panels on these laptops stayed the same for M1 Pro, M2 Pro, and M3 Pro machines. And if you want, you can install 1, one app and manually crank up the brightness on this M2 Pro to the same levels as it is on the M3 Pro. You can leave that app in the background and just forget about it, basically upgrading your MacBook from M2 Pro to M3 Pro in a few clicks, completely free. I think you know where I'm going with this. M2 Pro 14-inch MacBook Pro by no stretch is a very relevant MacBook that you should definitely consider, but it isn't for everyone, and you have to understand that. I don't want to make a boring video, compare numbers, and test the systems in every task imaginable, so I'm just gonna give you general directions. Like, if you are a college student and you don't know what university are you gonna attend, then it makes a lot of sense to buy this MacBook simply because it gives enough headroom. It's powerful enough both for regular day-to-day tasks and even serious workflows. I know people that use these machines are doing serious physics simulations and fluid dynamics simulations, and they are more than happy with the performance. Also, this keyboard is a joy to type on, so in all those long lectures you will have an upper hand over everyone with Chromebooks, and it is affordable enough so that you could spend money on it and not worry about buying a new Mac for at least 4 to 5 years. Well, of course, I'm using the word affordable quite sparingly because $1,600 is still a lot of money. But if you think of it as an investment in yourself, then it makes a lot of sense. But if you are a teacher or you work an office job, then I see absolutely no point for you to spend this much money on a laptop. Really, you're just typing documents and doing spreadsheets. You're gonna be more than fine with a MacBook Air for less money. Even the M1 MacBook Air will be more than enough for you. That thing is almost half the price of the M2 Pro 14-inch. But if you are hell-bent on buying a MacBook Pro and you want to have that gorgeous mini LED ProMotion screen, then I would advise you to look for a refurbished M1 Pro instead. I've seen prices ranging from $1,100 to $1,300, and that's basically the price of a 15-inch MacBook Air. I think the last category of people who could plan on buying this laptop is creative professionals like me. And that's whom this part will be dedicated to. I know not everyone edits videos or photos, but the whole first half of the video was for regular people, and now I want to talk about the stuff I do with my MacBook. And I do edit videos and photos, I manage tons of files, I like to learn stuff like Blender in my spare time, and in all these applications this MacBook excels. For all of the time of using it, I haven't had a single hiccup. No matter which editing app I use, whether it's an Apple-made Final Cut Pro or DaVinci Resolve, the result is always the same. The timeline is smooth, the playback even with a quality preset is flawless, and the render times are low, even at 4K 10-bit ProRes with a color grading, effect, stabilization, and denoise. What's interesting is that in tasks like this, the M3 Pro performs absolutely the same, and the reason for that is the media engine. It's the same on the M2 Pro and M3 Pro. The only reason why you might seriously consider the M3 Pro for video editing is if you are working with AV1 codec. But even so, you can always run the video files through a compressor app and turn them into something more manageable like H.265, and in that case the performance again will be the same for the M2 Pro and M3 Pro. In terms of photo editing, all new MacBooks with 16 gigs of RAM or more perform very similarly, so I'm not gonna dwell on that much longer. Where you can really see the difference is with 3D, but only if you do ray tracing rendering. If your project doesn't require that, then I can say that you're going to be more than fine with the M2 Pro even 3 years from now. When this laptop came out, it had a couple problems that the internet completely blew out of proportion. Unfortunately, I was one of those people, but now I want to redeem myself and shine the light on issues people had: SSD speeds and quality. The SSD on M2 Pro really is slightly slower than it was on the M1 Pro, and the M3 Pro fixed the issue of the M2 Pro. But if I'm being totally honest, I haven't really noticed any impact of this slightly slower SSD. Sure, transferring files to the laptop or from it can take a bit longer, but the difference is basically measured in seconds. Streaming data from an internal SSD is still fast enough for all tasks, so you definitely shouldn't even take this so-called issue into account when considering this laptop. And the same goes for audio. Yes, it's true that the sound quality is a bit worse on the M2 Pro compared to the M1 Pro 14-inch. But the M3 Pro sounds almost one-to-one like the M2 Pro, and I haven't seen a single person complaining about speakers there. And frankly speaking, how often do you pay that much attention to the sound coming from laptop speakers? It's loud, it's clear, has enough bass, middle, and highs. If you don't have a laptop with better speakers to compare it to, then you would never notice any issues. I think all of this proves one thing. M2 Pro did withstand a test of time. Even though 1 year isn't all that long by any means, it is more than enough for the machine to show its true colors. And the M2 Pro 14-inch proved that it's a fighter, that it can make the job done, and do it fast and reliably every single time. And that price to performance ratio it gives is simply unmatched when it comes to Pro MacBooks. There's only one minor thing that I don't like. What the hell is happening with the battery health? My unit, after a full year, has 46 cycles, and the system shows 93% battery health. It lost 7% in just 46 cycles. Isn't it supposed to retain 80% health in at least 1,000 charge cycles? If it continues at the same rate, it's gonna be at 80% at just 120, 150 charge cycles. I know how charge cycles work, but this is something I don't understand. Either it is some sort of a software problem or the battery in mine has a factory defect. What's interesting is that the laptop still holds charge perfectly well and lasts for many hours. I just find it really strange for a 1-year-old laptop that's used mostly on a charger to lose that much battery health. And before you say anything, the optimized charging is turned on. This is all very suspicious if you ask me. If you have the same issue, leave a comment. Let's see how many people are affected. But you know what? I can forgive it for that, just because of all that joy it gave me. It's just such a nice machine to use in every single day that my positive experience with it overshadows all of the minor issues that I've encountered. And I think if you buy it, you're also gonna be more than fine. For $1,600, you will get a very powerful and modern machine that doesn't disappoint in any way and stands strong in the lineup as the best part to features to price balance. And if you are thinking about buying a MacBook right now, recently we made a very good video where we reviewed all Apple silicon chips and explained which SoC is right for every kind of user. So be sure to check it out and see you there.